You're listening to Heroes in the Moment. What's up, heroes? I'm Michael.
And I'm Nathan.
And today we're breaking down Loki episode 2 of season 2.
Let's get it, baby.
Let's get into it. The episode's title was a play off of words, Breaking Brad.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one before.
I know, Breaking Brad instead of
makes
Breaking
you
Bad.
wonder.
It does make you wonder
Walter.
just a little bit. Walter, where's Walter at?
I
Walter,
was looking for him.
Jesse
I'm like,
comes up.
you can't tease it like that
Oh,
and then not
can't
have
tease it,
a
right?
cameo. Of
I know,
sorts,
it's a
but-
shame. We needed Walter White in there, Jesse, somebody.
We need to cook, Mr. White.
He said the word.
He said it.
He said the word.
We're Breaking Bad.
We're breaking. Just the episode.
What if
I broke Bad.
Loki's like, you need to stop Breaking Bad, Brad. It's like, dude.
Oh, quit, Brad. But anyway, to get into the episode, personally, I don't think this episode continued the same momentum from the first. Do you
Yeah.
agree?
There's definitely a change up. In my opinion, it's a little simpler. It follows a very simple plot. Dude goes AWOL. They chase him. They try to get answers. Bad things happen.
Yeah.
I still think the series is off on a good note, but I do think that the first episode was better.
Oh, the first episode I agree was better. I think this episode was just it was different from the first, so much so to me like it went down a peg. I started to understand what people were saying, like how it's not as good as Loki season 1.
Yeah.
Because this episode, like, yes, it wasn't like a horrible episode. I didn't despise it, but it wasn't just as good and didn't have some of the same elements that I liked in the first episode that started the season on a really good note. And the whole Brad plot to me was just not good.
Yeah, it feels a little off, and you know
does.
they've marketed this second season as being like such a crazy,
Right.
mind bending, season of Loki,
Right.
As the first season left off, and then it didn't feel like it.
Yeah, not in
You
this
know?
episode. And I don't like the character of Brad or the whole
He's such a terrible guy.
he is. And plus, like, he was so different in the first episode compared to this episode.
Yeah, it's like, what's the sudden change?
I know, like, why
And,
is
like,
it such a change?
He hates Sylvie with like an
Right.
intense passion.
Right, like,
You're like,
that's
why?
fine, but then he just goes off on his own, finds his own life, and he's this movie
Movie
star
star,
or whatever.
yeah.
That made no sense to me. And yes, I mean, there was the Easter egg that he is apparently Zaniac, who is a Marvel villain in comics, so it's like, okay, they
I did
connected
not know
those
that.
Easter eggs. This is cool
Zaniac.
that. Zaniac.
He's like the cousin of Brainiac in a different universe.
Ooh.
But he's not as cool as him.
You're right. He can never be as cool as Brainiac. But apparently he's a Thor villain.
He's a Thor villain?
He's a Thor villain.
Yeah,
so.
I've never heard of him.
Anyway, so it makes sense, I guess, being Loki. So that, Zaniac little Easter egg, but still, I did not like, I love the, him and Mobius going to this, different timeline. I love their partnership.
Yeah.
Like, it almost feels like this show feels like one of those, like, NCIS, Hawaii Five-0, that kind of dynamic where you're going out with your partner, you're
It's like
investigating
every
a story.
episode is the same.
Right.
kinda,
But every episode's the same, but they're going after a different story. Somebody got
story,
killed, somebody
different
It felt like
case.
that, which I enjoy. And I like those shows, depending on the show. But
Yeah,
like,
but like that's daytime television, at
well,
the end of the
it's
day.
not daytime. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it
come on
is.
during the day.
But like I guess that's what would fall under it. Like someone like Criminal Minds, I guess.
Well,
like,
that comes on at night.
What? Oh, I think they're the same. Wait, then what's the difference between like nighttime and daytime TV?
Well, daytime TV is like the Today Show and the Kelly Clarkson
Well,
show.
like they got like the
Bold
cop
and the
show on, and they
Beautiful,
got
and-
like
yeah, stuff like that. But then you have like your nighttime CBS, NBC
Oh.
shows that fall into like that's their shows.
I didn't know there was a
at night.
difference.
Yeah, I mean, daytime television's during the day.
I guess I don't watch television during the day.
You just don't watch television.
I just don't watch television in general.
But I think it felt like that, and I liked it. I liked the
Yeah.
Loki and Mobius' relationship. I liked their partnership. I liked them doing that, and then we see that later as well with the interrogation tactics. I thought that element was cool,
Yeah.
and it felt like a lot like those CBS, NBC shows that we get. But it's just a lot of the plot. Just it felt like they were pushing too much on this interrogation, this episode that could have been a small 5-minute scene to where it was the majority of the episode.
Yeah.
and I didn't think that was worthy of that.
They did take a lot of time with it.
They did.
I wonder if they had a different director for this episode compared to the first one.
I think
because it felt completely different.
It seems very likely that there was a different director. I think the writer was the same. Michael Waldron was still writing the
Okay.
entire show, but the direction did seem different. I mean, the acting was still very good and great
Yeah.
because, I mean, obviously you can't go wrong with Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Dynamic duo.
It is a great dynamic. deal. But we'll see how it goes. But some highlights from this episode that I did particularly like was seeing Loki use magic. I think that was a highlight.
It's like about time.
I know.
I feel like they nerfed him really hard in season 1, and I understand they have a budget and CGI is expensive, but it just
For sure.
we want to see him at his full potential.
Absolutely. I mean, if it's a show about him, we want to see him go full hard.
Yeah.
And yes, we did see some cool stuff in season 1, but seeing it here was really cool. Seeing him use his abilities.
The box he made that was
the box was from the device. He didn't make it.
Oh, he didn't make that.
No, but he did like create different versions of stuff like he does and use like just straight magic to go against people. That was cool. And then Sylvie doing the same earlier or later in the episode was cool as well. I like that. I think that was a cool highlight of the episode. I think that was one of the better parts of this episode. But the rest of the plot did not fit into it. And I just think the whole plot of trying to find Sylvie, interviewing Brad, like we talked about earlier, that took up the entire episode, felt more like a filler to before you get to Sylvie.
Yeah.
Like this could have been the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the episode. And then the last half you have Sylvie and then the whole pruning business going on. That could have been more of a show. Instead, they gave Brad the screen time and the whole pruning thing was like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That was weird to me.
It sounds like it's just a filler kind of, well, maybe not a filler, but just a big build up for episode 3 where Sylvie's back fully in action.
Right.
I don't know. I do agree that the pacing is weird, but I mean, Michael, like how would have you done it?
I would have, again, like I said, I would have, had them go find Brad, but I would have had Brad act
like a minimal screen.
Yeah. More like first episode, had him act there, and then take him back to the TVA, interview him about Sylvie. And then within 5-10 minutes, I would have had them find Sylvie, really. I would have had them find Sylvie, and then they would go off and have their struggle and that scene's there, and then go to find out what was going on behind the backs of the rogue TVA people. I think that would have been more of a centric episode if it would have focused more on the Sylvie and Loki dynamic. And I think where this episode was strong suit is it did have a lot of character development, which I appreciated. I think that was good. I think of the key lime pie scene with Loki and Mobius, I think that was the best scene of the episode. Just them talking, Mobius losing his cool. I think that was all really great.
Yeah.
And seeing Mobius like, okay, he has different perspective, and them talking about like, don't you want to be out there? Don't you want to see where you came from? And he's like, no, I don't care if it's something bad. I mean, I'm okay. I like my job. But what if it was something good? And I really like that because that resonated well. Because what if he had a family? What if he had something going for him and everything? But he's here and he was taken away from that and he forgot it all. Then obviously he would want to go back. But he has that balance because he knows the TVA needs him as well. So I think that was really good. I think that was the highlight to me of this episode and completely.
Yeah, it presents a moral dilemma.
It does.
Which pulls you in. And it makes you question that same, like, would I do that in his shoes?
Right.
Probably not, to be
Probably
honest.
not.
I would want to find what my life was.
No, we wouldn't. I mean, what if it was something good? It's a hard line because it's like, wow.
But this is my duty.
I mean, obviously it had to be. He's riding him jet skis.
I know. It has to be. He goes in there and he's just like he lives off the coast of California.
Dude, he lives off the coast. He has this beautiful family.
On the beach every day. Yeah.
And,
a really nice house.
Really nice. Everything going for him.
Yeah.
And then his whole family was just killed.
Just murdered.
And then,
it's probably better he doesn't remember than in that case.
Yeah, that would be better if he didn't remember. But I don't know. I think that scene was particularly the highlight of this episode. I thought it was so good. And the acting there was really great as well. And then you had the other side plot of this episode, which was Obi and what's the other guy's name who works for the TVA?
Docs.
Is that his name?
Well, that's one of the dudes who went missing, right?
No, the guy with the tie, like that, just works in the computers. What's his name? He has like a really basic name.
I don't know.
That's so bad.
I'm bad with names.
We're so unprepared.
I'm bad with names.
I'm gonna Google it right now. Let's see.
He looks like
Loki,
the guy that wears the
tie guy.
Tie guy.
No. He's showing me Halloween costumes. Loki series cast. Let's go to that. Because I really need to know his name. Jonathan Majors. Hello, where you been?
Yeah, where is he? I wonder how everything's going to turn
Casey. That's the guy. Old Casey. But, all right. So Casey's the guy. They had the whole subplot with the OB and the whole struggle with the whole time continuum, I guess. And apparently they need Miss Minutes to come back for their passcode because Miss Minutes obviously is loyal to He Who Remains or Kang.
Yeah.
So
she's terrifying.
They got to find Miss Minutes in the future. So the next episode I feel like is going to be centered maybe around finding Miss Minutes, something along those lines, or doing something along those.
She's going to be in some dark back room.
I know,
They'd
she's
be
gonna
walking
pop up.
in. I'm telling you, man.
She is freaky.
I don't think they intend for her to be scary.
They
but
did
she
not.
She just naturally
She
is.
just on that one episode, she just pops up. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Like, oh my. Her face, like, just.
It's menacing,
people with
dude.
like innocent eyes.
Dude, like
and
imagine
looks,
like you have her
they gotta be
face
evil.
and like a giant body, and she's just like evil
Walking
monster and just
around,
starts
yeah.
murking
like
people.
a human body.
Dude, that'd be crazy.
But honestly, that sounds like a really fun episode. But I guess, I mean, that would be just a better episode than this one was. Just them trying to find her.
Miss Minutes, and then finding her and get that jump scare at the end.
And the jump scare the whole time. Do like a whole horror
that'd be
episode.
horrible.
Would be wild.
That'd be wild. So Sylvie is at McDonald's. We get Sylvie at McDonald's working there, which is
Like
weird why you want to go to
Oklahoma,
McDonald's.
yeah.
But then again, 19, what was it, 70s?
I thought it was
80s,
82.
1980s McDonald's. Like
Yeah.
that vibe seems amazing.
It seems like that's like, was that when they had all like the video games and stuff that you would just go
Probably.
remember that? Like when you were a kid, they would have like these like video games and they'd have these controllers with it and you'd play them
that would be like a
in
Walmart.
McDonald's. Yeah,
In
exactly.
McDonald's?
Like Walmart, but they had those in
I
McDonald's.
don't remember those in McDonald's.
That obviously along with the big playgrounds they had, but they're usually outside the playgrounds.
Maybe it was just Florida because
Maybe it was. Florida actually has the biggest McDonald's in the world.
I know, Orlando.
It's
right?
really cool. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 stories.
That's
but-
crazy. But anyway, so Sylvie's working at McDonald's, which that McDonald's, I wish more McDonald's ran like that.
I know,
'cause
man.
It was clean.
The McDonald's
it was,
where I live is terrible.
I know, it's
terrible.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's working at McDonald's. Loki comes in, try to convince her to come back. She needs your help. She wants nothing to do with the TVA or him. She says she'd took care of it. But then they convinced her to go back because they find out rogue TVA members are actually pruning whole timelines, which this is just devious.
Yeah, they're going. Are they getting paid for it? That's a real
I
question.
wonder who's the real person behind it.
Well,
Kane,
yeah,
or-
exactly. Like, why are they doing this? Is it their moral obligation, or are they just doing it for the bag? So
Well,
it has to
it couldn't be
Kane.
moral because like literally they're killing trillions of
I
people.
know, but at the same time, like, it's their job.
That's true.
Like, it's terrible, but like
It's true.
they got to
Or it
preserve.
could be
the
like they were
timeline.
rogue working for Ravana, who we don't know where she's
Yeah,
at yet.
she's just AWOL right now.
So she could have been
Could
one
be
who
her.
sanctioned it.
Yeah,
We don't know. But this is
A lot of
reality. What
people.
happened in this episode? They go back to TVA, realize that what's happened, need to go after Miss Minutes, and just this episode, just to me, it could have been a lot better. And the fact that the name title Breaking Brad, like it makes sense, but it's just it really says a lot
Let's
about
say
the episode.
Breaking Brad, but then it fails to even compare
It
or
fails.
like even pay homage. Really,
Right.
Like if your Breaking Brad moment is Brad
Yeah.
just leaving his job and
Yeah, and
becoming
interviewing
an
him,
actor,
yeah,
it's
just-
like he's not at least gonna cook some meth.
I know,
don't
like, what's
know.
going on there?
Yeah,
It's
but he didn't even do
unfortunate.
like I don't know. He's bad, but he's not even that bad.
No,
but-
so that was the episode in itself. I mean, hopefully it'll do better in the next episode,
Yeah.
and then bring back to the episode
I
one
think
that we
it will.
want. And I mean, it's got. I think is it 6 episodes again? I'm
Is it
pretty
actually
sure. I
6?
don't know if it's 6.
It
It could
better
be
not.
6. Could be 8. I don't know.
This whole 6-episode thing is not working.
It's not working.
But y'all
we'll
hear
talk
about that on the news.
We
yeah.
will talk about that in the news. A little hint there. So I don't know.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, let us know by giving us a review and a download. Our podcast, Here's in the Moment, is available on all major podcast platforms, so check it out. If you want to stay up to date with our social, check out our Instagram, Heroes in the Moment.
And we just want to thank you all for listening. And as always, we love you 3000.